to EBS, another one of our Facebook Live sessions. I'm very happy to have you here today with us. My name is Steve. And today, what we're going to do is talk about gratitude. And sometimes, myself, I'll say, we forget to count our blessings, as I was told growing up. You know, always remember to count your blessings. Because sometimes just the day-to-day living, we get caught up in facing our problems, trying to overcome them, rise above them, and all of that. We get very focused on the problems that we have to manage through our life, and that is its own challenge, its own burden, sometimes its own crisis too. But every once in a while, it doesn't hurt to take a half step back and to remember that we probably have had in our lives a number of people that have been there for us, maybe at a pivotal time in your life. Sometimes, we have friends, we have teachers that we've known all our lives and that have helped us and such. But sometimes we have complete strangers that just happen to be at the right place at the right time with the right words that made a difference for us. And if we don't every once in a while step back and remember these teachers, these friends, these family members, and the things that they have done for us that have helped us to get as far along down the road as we have, then it is so easy to get caught up in just making it through day by day, right? And so today it's going to be kind of a recollection of who in your life has been that pivotal person. Sometimes at different stages we have different teachers. For instance, when I was a young man, my grandmother on my mother's side, she was that person that seemed to take the time to help me understand things in a certain kind of way. And I always remember that, and I do appreciate that. And every once in a while in my meditations, I recognize that. And when I do, a deep bow, because somebody took the time to help me a little bit further down the path. Okay? So that's as a very young child. But then I had other people at different stages of my life where maybe I was in a crisis or, really struggling through something. And they became that person that provided that kind of support that got me through that stage of struggle and allowed me to continue along the path. And that if I think about it, and I think about the kindness that they extended to me, then that's very touching. For me it is, because that meant that there were people out there who saw something in me and shared a love, shared a compassion that they had, and it was the thing that kept me going. And so if every once in a while, this will be a meditation on recalling those that have shared their love, their support, their compassion with us, knowing that they saw something in us that was worthwhile for them to take the time to do that. And sometimes it's kind of hard for us to see. Sometimes it's kind of hard for me to truly appreciate that maybe I have certain qualities that do merit, support from others. We're so hard on our times, particularly here in the West, if you will, in the United States. We're very hard on ourselves, and we compare ourselves to people that we never could be like, and we don't measure up, or whatever it all might be. And it's kind of that internal critic is alive and well. And I think that it's pretty safe to say we've all met that internal critic and have shaken hands with him or her and know what that's like. It's so easy to put yourself down and what have you. And then maybe when we open our hearts up a little bit, with gratitude to those that have helped us, maybe in a way we're also opening our hearts up to that part of us that it's good to share gratitude with, compassion with. There's a concept, if you will, in Buddhism that I really kind of resonate with. I like this. They talk about each of us has Buddha nature, meaning that you don't have to work to deserve compassion. You don't have to, work to be honored, loved, or respected. That those things are already there for you. All you have to do is quieten the mind, turn down that critic, right? Quieten the mind, and then you step into the presence of that compassion, of gratitude, of that place of abundance. And so when we meditate, perhaps one thing that we're doing, every time we quieten our mind just a little bit, those waves slow down and we find those calm waters. Maybe one of the byproducts of that is we return to our natural state that is of compassion, unconditional love, and such. We get to recharge our batteries a little bit, right? And maybe when we had those teachers in the past that have stood by us, maybe they recognize that thing in us too. When we couldn't see it, maybe they could. Okay? So today, as always, right, we're going to practice our meditations and just to quieten the mind. As we do that, then to open our hearts with recollection of those that have helped us along the way and hold them in our meditation. Okay? So like with any of these meditations, there's a visualization component to it. You just have to be able to see you holding that person in your meditation, holding that image of them, and having a relationship with that, feeling the gratitude, deep bow to those that have stood by you in your darkest times, right? They deserve it. They helped us. They helped us, move beyond that. Deep bow, deep bow. When we do that, perhaps what we're doing is recognizing the Buddha nature in them. And it's kind of like that old thing, if you can't see it in yourself first, how can you see it in others? And so every time we meditate and quieten our mind and slow things down, maybe we find peace. Maybe we find a certain kind of stillness that is revigorating, or whatever it is. And when we find that place, we try to rest there with full awareness. And in doing so, then we participate in our Buddha nature. And then maybe, too, we share that with others and we allow them to also participate in their Buddha nature. Just as there have been people that have stood by you in your darkest times, perhaps you are that person that is standing by someone else in their darkest times because you recognize their Buddha nature, because you've experienced what that's like yourself through your meditations. So let's try, we'll just do a simple meditation. And what we're going to focus on is through the heart, seeing that person who has stood by us, holding that person there, feeling that gratitude, reaching out to them. Okay? And you could say, in a sense, when you think about compassion, it's like a beautiful gem that's held up to the light. The light hits it and it refracts in 1,000 colors of the rainbow. Each of those colors is a virtue or a quality in a sense. So you can say that acknowledging and recognizing others with gratitude is part of compassion. Okay? So imagine that, if you will. The person in front of you, what you're doing is sending out gratitude, gratefulness from a place of abundance and holding them in that and deep bow. Okay? Now, it's interesting. Think about someone who has been an influence in your life. Sometimes That might be very early on. Sometimes that may have been someone you ran across last week, right? And more likely than not, when we think about it, we have numerous people who have helped us along the way, whether they know it or not. They have been our teachers and they have helped us. So for today, try to pick that one person. It's not who's the best or better than someone else. No, just pick that one person, and we're going to stay focused just on that one person today. So instead of focusing on one person for that 15 seconds, and then we drift off, and we come back, we think, well, I want to focus on someone else. No, just come back to that person, hold them in your meditation, practice that breathing, calming your thoughts as you see them there in gratitude for what they have done for you. We'll see. All right. We'll do a body scan first, and then go into that visualization exercise. So the body scan that we do is very, very simple. In that, for me, what has helped me is I focus at the base of my spine, and I breathe and relax and open that up. That area, in a general sense, is kind of related to physical health, vitality, if you will. Then I bring it up into my stomach, my gut, focus on that area, relax, let it go. And that kind of is related to emotional health in a sense. It's like where we hold on our emotional selves, right? We bring it up to the heart, focus on that, open it up, let it go. That area is kind of related to our connection with those around us, our physical family, our spiritual family, our community family, our work family, on and so forth, and that part of it. Bring it up a little bit more, and then from here, I breathe out, release, and relax, and let it go. And then that's kind of focused on, that light, that spiritual light, if you will, that all of us carry with us, and just recognizing that. So as we do that, that's kind of the thought behind it. Thought I would share that for a second. All right. If you're in a chair, like I am, or if you're sitting on the floor, what we do is sit straight, relaxed, just straight. And then we take a couple of long, slow breaths. And as we do this, maybe the awareness of our body now starts to grow. I can feel muscles beginning to relax. I become a bit more aware of the tensions that I've been carrying with me. Now take another breath or two. I shift my attention to that energy that surrounds me, all of us. We're bioelectric fields of organic goo, huh? But I shift my awareness to that, and I feel that just surrounds me. And then I bring my awareness to the base of my spine. Take a breath. And I allow that to open, to relax, and just to release. Take my next breath. I bring my attention up to my stomach, lower back. As I breathe out, I want to open this up and allow it to relax, to release, to open. With my next breath, bring it up to my chest, between my shoulder blades. Now breathe out. And just allow it to open wider and wider with each breath. Now take another breath. And bring my attention up to my forehead. Now breathe through that. And allow it to open up, to relax, to release. And now we're going to practice our meditation. And what we'll do is we're going to see that person who has stood by us, who has helped us, who has been our teacher. And we're going to face them, see them clearly, and with a heart wide open, a deep bow of respect, we hold them with gratitude. With each breath we take, each breath we breathe, we share that gratitude with them. And we'll do this for about the next 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's bring our attention back to the room we're in, the chair we're on. Open our eyes. Let's take a minute just to feel that space around us. Has it changed during this meditation a little bit? Can you feel a difference? Perhaps sometimes in some of our meditations, there really is a substantial difference that occurs, you know? And it's good to recognize it and to bring it through into your monkey mind, your waking awareness, so that you do have that sense of knowing what it's like to touch that meditative mind in a fully wakened state, you know? And that's a integrated, blending those two worlds together kind of experience. So, how is that for you? You know, I think that it's interesting. This is not a practice that we see so much in our culture, but it is so predominant in so many other cultures, and that is bowing to another person. And what do we do when we do that? What does that mean? You know, are we lowering ourselves subserviently to that other person? No, I don't think that. Here certainly is not the intent. Is we look to find that teacher in our lives that's made a difference for us. We strive to recognize that Buddha nature in them, and the more deeply we see it and recognize it, the more deeply we honor that, and the more deeply we bow. And in some cultures, you might see someone who may even lay themselves out on the ground fully in front of the other person because they are so moved by that Buddha nature within them. And they honor it to the fullest extent. So it's interesting on these kind of meditations, what did you experience? Now for me, it's normal. My mind drifts, right? And when it does, and in this meditation, I bring it back to hands folded. My teacher, you know, my friend, family member, whoever it is I'm focused on, in front of me. And I take a deep breath in, and as I breathe out, I bow down. Recognizing and remembering that place. And doing that, it's kind of interesting. I feel that it's like I'm standing under a waterfall and I'm being washed clean a little bit. Each time I bow deeply in recognition and respect, then there's something that's happening that's just kind of cleansing me a little bit, right? And so in today's age, when we have COVID going around and all this stuff, there are so many things to keep us occupied with worries and concerns. And they're legitimate things too. It's not just that we're worriers, right? No, these are legitimate things. As we navigate our way through this world, then occasionally, as we mentioned before, it's good to step back, recognize those that have stood by you, and then with deep respect, bow to them. And then my guess is, then you might become that person, that teacher, that support for someone else. You may or may not even know it at the time, but when you open yourself up to that gratitude, I would call it, then who knows what can follow, right? I was reading this book on Tibetan poems, and in this one passage, this fellow says, "I am even grateful to problems. They woke me up from my illusions, and they led me to the path of compassion. I would not trade them for anything." And there's someone who has a deep sense of gratitude for what the lessons of life have brought him. Today, we practice with a deep sense of gratitude those that have stood by us. So, not a bad meditation. As always, if you find this of any interest, anything in this rang true to you, then take that and follow up on it and let that become your teacher and see where it takes you. You never know, right? All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for being part of our meditation family here, for supporting EBS and being part of this whole thing as we figure out how to get through all this COVID stuff. And hopefully, one day, we will open this building back up and then we can all share some space together, both in the virtual world and in the real world. So, okay, guys, appreciate it. Thanks again.